The sunlight streamed through the tall windows of Le Jardin, a chic, glass-walled restaurant perched above the city streets, where the soft clinking of cutlery mingled with quiet jazz. From the moment Henry Radcliffe, a billionaire businessman with a reputation for shrewd deals and flawless appearances, stepped inside with his 8-year-old son Theo, he had the kind of presence that made heads turn. Today was meant to be ordinary, a casual father-son lunch, but life has a strange way of twisting ordinary moments into unforgettable ones. Before the first course arrived, Henry noticed a small figure struggling by the entrance, a man disheveled in a worn coat, trying to wrangle a small child who was gripping a threadbare backpack like a lifeline. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark, because stories like this remind us why compassion matters. The man's name was Owen Carrington. His hair was streaked with grey, his face etched with fatigue, but there was an unmistakable warmth in his eyes that spoke of unwavering dedication. His young daughter, Mia, no older than 7, tugged at his sleeve, her small legs carrying her as fast as they could through puddles left by the morning drizzle. They looked out of place amid the polished marble floors and expensive chandeliers, their shoes scuffed, their clothes too thin for the early November chill. Owen's shoulders slumped as he realized there was no empty table in sight. He adjusted the strap of Mia's backpack, whispered something softly, and tried to calm her down. Henry watched from his table, a rare spark of interest flickering beneath his usual composed exterior. The contrast between the opulence around him and the quiet struggle unfolding in front of him was stark. He had spent decades accumulating wealth, but the sight of a man and child battling the world together with nothing but their resolve stirred something he couldn't quite name. For the first time that day, Henry felt a tug in his chest, a feeling stronger than any business decision or calculated deal. Owen finally found a small table near the corner, away from the large glass windows that displayed the bustling streets. He gently seated Mia, who refused to meet anyone's eyes, and reached into his coat pocket for a crumpled coupon he had saved for weeks, praying it would cover at least a modest meal. Henry, unable to look away, saw the desperation, the quiet dignity, and the sheer love radiating from this man. By the time the waiter approached Owen, he had already begun explaining the limitations of his budget. "We'll have the, chicken special," he muttered, trying not to let his voice tremble. Mia reached across the table and squeezed his hand, her eyes wide and silent, as if trying to tell him it would be okay. Henry's mind raced. He could have simply ignored them, but something inside him rebelled against indifference. He stood and approached their table, his voice calm but firm. "Excuse me," he said. Owen looked up, startled, expecting some reprimand for standing in the crowded restaurant. Instead, Henry extended his hand. "I couldn't help but notice you and your daughter. May I join you for lunch?" Owen blinked, disbelief washing over him. I couldn't possibly," he began, but Henry waved him off. "Please, sit. Consider it a lunch from someone who believes in a little kindness." As Henry sat down, Theo peered curiously at the little girl across the table. He was quiet, polite, and shy, yet something in Mia's timid smile drew him in instantly. Henry watched the children, marveling at the way small gestures could bridge worlds that money and status often separated. Mia, hesitant at first, gradually relaxed under the genuine warmth radiating from Henry and his son. Owen couldn't believe the generosity, the simplicity of the act. He had worked multiple jobs just to keep a roof over their heads and to pay the rent, but moments like this, unexpected and fleeting, felt almost surreal. The waiter brought their meals, and for the first time that week, Owen didn't have to calculate every bite, every cost. He could simply breathe. As they ate, Henry asked questions, not about work, not about money, but about life, school, dreams, and fears. He listened, really listened, to the stories of a man who had given up so much to protect his daughter's happiness. Owen spoke softly about the little victories, Mia learning to ride a bike, the first time she made friends at school, how she loved drawing pictures of imaginary worlds. He also admitted, almost in a whisper, the weight he carried alone, the nights spent worrying about bills, broken appliances, and whether he was failing her. Theo, meanwhile, shared stories of his own, about his love for dinosaurs, his obsession with astronomy, and his fascination with his father's work. which Henry always tempered with gentle humor and humility. The children laughed together, finding a rare, unguarded joy in one another's company. After dessert, Henry reached into his wallet and pulled out his business card. "I know it might sound forward," he said, sliding it across the table to Owen, "but if you ever need help, anything at all, please don't hesitate to call me. Consider it an investment in your dreams, not a handout." Owen's hand shook as he picked it up. He had never imagined a billionaire would extend something so personal, so human. The following weeks were a whirlwind. Henry arranged for Owen and Mia to attend a summer camp that Mia had dreamed about but which Owen could never afford. He quietly sent books, art supplies, and clothes, never making a spectacle of it, just small, thoughtful gestures that gradually lifted the crushing weight of worry from Owen's shoulders. Yet, despite Henry's generosity, the greatest change was internal. Owen began to believe in the possibility of a better life. He began taking small steps towards stability, securing a steadier job, saving cautiously, and nurturing Mia's dreams without the constant dread of scarcity. One crisp, bright morning, Henry invited them back to Le Jardin. The air smelled faintly of autumn leaves, and sunlight danced off the glass panes of the restaurant. Mia practically bounced into the room, wearing a new dress that made her feel like a princess, her eyes shining with excitement. Owen followed, heart pounding with gratitude. Henry greeted them warmly, pulling out chairs and gesturing for them to sit. The children immediately began exchanging stories, laughter filling the space between them. Then Henry leaned back, his expression softening. "You know," he said, "life is about moments like this, unexpected, unplanned, and yet transformative. Sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness to change everything." It was true. That single lunch had sparked a chain reaction that neither Owen nor Henry could have predicted. The generosity had not only helped Mia thrive, but had also reminded Owen of the resilience and dignity he carried within him. He began volunteering at a local community center, helping other single parents navigate hardships, paying forward the compassion that had been shown to him. But the story didn't stop there. A month later, a local newspaper caught wind of the quiet acts of kindness orchestrated by Henry. They ran a feature highlighting the billionaire who believed in nurturing dreams rather than showcasing wealth. The story went viral, sparking donations to local charities and inspiring countless individuals to rethink how they could make a difference in someone's life. Henry, typically private, had unwittingly become a symbol of humility and generosity. Mia flourished in ways Owen had only dared to hope for. Her confidence soared, her laughter became louder, and her dreams of becoming an artist seemed tangible rather than impossible. Owen, too, transformed, not into someone wealthy or unrecognizable, but into a man who knew that hope, courage, and kindness were more powerful than fear or despair. The bond between father and daughter deepened in ways that no money could measure, built on trust, shared joy, and resilience. One day, as Henry watched Owen and Mia walk through the park, hand in hand, he felt a quiet pride that was entirely different from business success. It was the pride of knowing that he had witnessed a life turning toward hope, of knowing that a single act, a simple invitation to lunch,